Okay. Um, Welcome everyone. This is our first Tuesday on track of the year for 2025. It's so exciting. Yay! It's so exciting to be back. We're really happy to have you all with us. A few housekeeping items before we do anything else. And actually, even before I do housekeeping, I want to acknowledge that that Ansem lives and breathes in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, whose ancestors have been here since time immemorial. And on behalf of my ancestors and family, I just want to say a huge thank you for sharing this land with us. It's a beautiful day here today, and that just makes me feel even more grateful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Now let's move on to housekeeping. So, for anyone who has not joined us for a Tuesday on track before, what's going to happen is the wonderful Vanessa today is going to be sharing some great information with us. We have a huge group of people, so instead of doing any kind of round table where everyone introduced themselves, if you would like to say hi in the chat, let everybody know what museum you're with, that's great. Alyssa, who's with us today from the Ansem office as well, is going to be taking attendance. So again, for track, if this is unfamiliar territory, we want to make sure that the museums that are participating, that are represented today, are given credit for that. We have to report into the provincial government because they are who funds track. We report in on who is participating, who takes advantage of which elements of the program. And so we want to make sure that that information is captured and shared accurately. That also means if you do not have your name showing up in your little icon, like in that participant list, then please change the name to your name so we know who is here. If something is not clear, if we don't know who's in the room, then Alyssa's going to send a message and say, hey, who is this? So we don't want to see any like iPads or laptop 7 or museum, things like that. We want to know who you are, and then we can have a conversation with you and call on you if you have questions. If you do have questions, then please pop those into the chat. We're going to be monitoring that as we go along, but we're also going to have a nice open Q&A time at the end. So send in your questions as they come up, and we'll make sure that those questions get answered. I think the only other thing I want to mention right now is that there is a coaching day 2 weeks from now. I believe that most of the spots are already booked, but have a peek if you're interested in some one-on-one coaching, and we will do our best to accommodate that. You can register for coaching the same as you register for webinars. All right. I think that's it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn things over to Vanessa and learn about accessible technology in museums.
Great. Thank you so much. Today is Tuesday on Track, and we're doing accessibility tech in museum spaces, using technology to make museums more accessible to everyone. Next slide. I can't see. There. Oh, there's just one before that. There we go. Just a little bit of who I am. My name is Vanessa Chatten. I'm founder and owner of Canis Museum Consulting. I work with museums, galleries, and cultural institutions to make their spaces more inclusive, accessible, and visitor friendly. The passion lies in blending accessibility practices with emerging technologies like NFC tags, tactile displays, and inclusive digital tools to help institutions connect with all audiences, including those with disabilities, At Canis, we believe in accessibility isn't just an add-on, it's a foundation for meaningful engagement and community connection. Next slide. Now, in this session, we will go over some key topics, including inclusive design, digital strategy, digital management systems, WCAG, which is accessibility guide for websites. And then we'll move on to different barriers individuals may have in museum spaces and the solutions in accessibility and tech in museums. And then we'll go over the assisted tech, the innovative technology transforming museums and galleries into spaces where all visitors can independently and meaningfully engage. And also digital platforms helping museums adapt for an increasingly diverse audience. Now, you'll gain not just inspiration, but practical tools that help bring back that you can bring back to your institution, whether you're looking to improve inclusion, engage more visitors, or future-proof your exhibits. This webinar shows you how technology can help you do it easily and affordably. Next slide. Great. Just a little bit about inclusive design. Inclusive design in a museum is a design philosophy and practice that removes physical, sensory, cognitive, cultural, financial, and technological barriers to participation. It ensures that everyone, including people with disabilities, neurodivergent individuals, those with diverse linguistic and cultural backgrounds, older adults, and families with young children, feel welcome and represented and empowered in the museum space. Next. And the concept of digital strategy. Now, some museums have digital strategies already. They're kind of just a strategy that is a comprehensive plan that outlines how the museum will utilize digital tools and technologies to achieve its mission, enhance visitor experience, to expand its reach. It encompasses various aspects, including content creation, digital asset management, online presence, and digital engagement strategies. We want to keep these things in mind when we're choosing the technology we put in our museums, including the Nova Scotia Accessibility Act, Bill 59, which was enacted in 2017, and there's a link there to it. And it's a legislation that mandates the prevention and removal of barriers for persons with disabilities, aiming for a fully accessible Nova Scotia by 2030. Now, I've created some resources at the bottom there for a digital strategy checklist and an example of a digital strategy at the Royal BC Museum, just to give you some references there, just to give you an idea to keep in mind when choosing these technologies. So next. Great. I know it's maybe difficult for you to choose which technology to choose or the changes to make in your museum. Things to consider before we begin is space, your budget, days open during the year, your different audiences that you may have. So identifying demographics, interests, online behaviors of target audience, what platforms they use, what kind of content do they engage with? Also, one thing I didn't put in there is different technologies that those with disabilities may bring into your museum as well. We want to consider the size, resources, and mission of your museum. A small museum might prioritize community engagement, local SEO, while larger museums may focus on the national or international reach. And also competitive landscape to analyze other museums, what they're doing. You want to just take a look at maybe what other museums are doing that are the same size as you, have the same demographics, and kind of what they're doing to keep more accessible. So next. Now, digital asset management systems, that could include online collections, databases, your website that you have. These digital asset management systems works with assisted devices to make your museum more easy to navigate and explore with the assistive tech that visitors bring into your museum that may have disabilities. So next. And the importance of these digital asset management systems. They deliver consistent, accessible content across websites, apps, and kiosks. They work with screen readers that those with disabilities bring in, captioning tools, content validation services. They also manage alt text, captions, transcripts, and audio descriptions that then work with these assisted devices and technology. How you interact and add the alt text and description to, say, pictures and accessible features in the background of your website or your digital asset management systems is key in intersecting with or interacting with accessibility tech. They ensure versions of content like larger print, high contrast, or braille, and they want to follow the website web content accessibility guidelines, so WCAG, something to check out. So you are creating a space on your websites that is accessible through these technologies. So they have 4 core principles to remember: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. So just some concepts to consider before we go into the technology. Okay, next. All right, well, we're going to go in now into different barriers that different individuals with disabilities may face when going to your museums. It may give you some ideas about different tech. It may give you some ideas just how to make your space a little more inviting and accessible to different disabilities. So here we are going to go over hearing impairments. Those with hearing impairments may find that there's lack of sign language interpretation. They may find that there's no captions or transcripts, so audio exhibit/visual alternatives. They also may find that there's poor acoustics because of their hearing aids. There may be reverberation that may happen. So just some things to consider. Next, we'll just go to the next slide to show the solutions. Hearing solutions. So see, these top 3 are some of the solutions that those with hearing disabilities may bring into your museums. Just some things to look up, research, like hearing aids, cochlear implants, having visual alerts. They have captions and live transcripts. So here's a demonstration off to the right showing what a one of these systems could look like. The next slide will go more into that, but one of the tech that I've seen work with these hearing solutions is FM systems, infrared systems, and induction loop systems. They help improve accessibility for individuals with hearing loss. These systems work by transmitting audio directly to the listener's hearing aid or a personal receiver, enhancing clarity and reducing background noise. Next. And audio tours are always a great way of making your museums more accessible, either through um, these audio guides. So many museums offer audio guides and other forms of accessibility technology, help mitigate sensory input and provide information in a way that suits different needs, either through FM systems, which are frequency modulation systems, are often used to guide, have tour guides set up an assistive learning for people with hearing loss. Infrared systems are often used in fixed settings like theaters or gallery rooms, like one area in your museum may have this, where the signal containment is important. Induction loop systems, so they send a sound or a recording directly to the hearing aids equipped with their T-coil. So these are some of the examples off to the right. Some things to consider when implementing some of these are room size and layout, temporary versus permanent installation, compatibility with hearing aids, multilingual capabilities, and battery life and charging stations. I know this is a very comprehensive sort of tech, but it may work for one space in your museum. So, okay. And this is just a reference slide to go over different resources you may look into if you like some of these systems. I have included Canadian distributors and retailers and their links to those as well. So you'll be able to reference that later after you get this in your email later. Okay, next. Okay. And now on to mobility barriers. So someone with a mobility impairment may find the space be inaccessible, have inaccessible entranceways, the stairs may be uneven or narrow passageways, the exhibits may be out of reach, displays or touch streams may be too low or high. There may be limited seating areas. Just gives you little ideas of how people with mobility issues may interact with your space. You may have already done the upgrades. It's just something to think about. So next. Now, for mobility issues, virtual tours are an immense immersive experiences and can allow persons with mobility issues and are neurodivergent visitors, so people with different brain disabilities. They may explore your exhibits and get a feel for the museum environment before their visit. And these are interactive digital experiences where users can walk through their space remotely, your space remotely. They're ideal for people with mobility issues or who live far away. Example is a person using a wheelchair may not be able to access the upper floor of a heritage house. These tours are great. They don't necessarily have to be virtual reality. You can do them through YouTube. You can walk around your space, just giving people more of an idea of what the space looks like. Then maybe they won't be able to go upstairs, and this just gives them a chance to fully uh, explore your museum. Next. And AR overlays. So using a mobile device, visitors can view an exhibit with additional digital content layered on top, such as an animated restorations, historical context, or translated text. An example of this could be an ancient artifact could be scanned to show how it is used, labeled in multiple language and visual enhancements. And then as you see in the right-hand corner, it's brought up on their phone and they can easily click each section of that picture to fully explore what that artifact is. Now at the top is a screenshot of a museum that is here locally where I am. They have created a online sort of tour where you can see the little circles on the screen, and it will bring up a detailed description of that particular artifact. And I've given you a link to that particular virtual tour just so you can have an idea of what it looks like. Okay, next. And they've done this with the Matterport cameras. And I've given you a link there. Matterport cameras are 3D scanning cameras used to capture immersive photorealistic 3D models of physical spaces. They create digital twins that can be explored in 3D or VR. I think you can even rent these. And they just create online tour that you can then monetize later if you'd like, or just have it there for people with mobility issues. So it allows users with mobility impairments to tour spaces from their home. And the key features of this are 360-degree capture with 4K detail, automatic floor plans, measurements, dollhouse views. They're easily integrated with websites or VR headsets. They scan, can be embedded, shared, or explored interactively. And I've given you the link to that particular tour, so you'll be able to take a look and see if it fits within your museum. Okay, next. Now we move on to cognitive disabilities or neurodivergent disabilities. So a neurodivergent person refers to a person on the autism spectrum or ADHD or dyslexia, OCD, or other brain differences, more generally to someone whose brain processes information in a way that is not typically of most individuals. So they may find the spaces overwhelming. So too much noise, light, visual clutter. They may have a hard time with complex language or layouts, and no quiet spaces. So sometimes it's good to have a little quiet space. Even if you have headphones, you can give someone who may be having difficulty in your museum, you'll know how to assist them if that happens. So next. Great. This technology is a game changer. It's an accessible plugin for websites. It's called Accessiby. It's an AI-powered web accessibility solution designed to help individuals with visual impairments access and navigate websites by providing tools and features that make websites more usable with assistive technologies like screen readers, braille displays. They offer an accessibility interface or access widget that allows users to make on-the-fly adjustments to the website's design and content. And they also automate the process of identifying and remediating accessibility issues on your website. They fix those issues. They give you an audit every month. What happens is you add this to the background of your website. Every page will then have a icon that is like the one in the right-hand corner there on every page. If someone chooses to click on that on your website, it will pull up this menu on their screen where they can change the display to be seizure friendly, vision impairment, cognitive disability profile, ADHD, blindness, brings up keyboard. On the next slide, it will be a video showing exactly how this plugin works. It's fairly inaccessible as well. You can pay monthly. There's a free trial. And I think at the most, it's a little under $500 for the whole year. And it makes your website entirely accessible. So next. Great. This is how the Accessibility Widget solution works.
Hey everybody, I'm Ari from Accessiby, the leader in web accessibility solutions and services. In this video, you'll learn about Access Widget, Accessiby's AI-powered web accessibility solution, and how it helps people with a wide array of disabilities browse and use websites effectively. Access Widget simplifies and streamlines web accessibility and is compliant with the ADA, AODA, EAA, and other worldwide legislations in conformance with the WCAG 2.1 at the AA level. Installing Access Widget on a website takes 2 minutes and requires no prior technical knowledge. Let's find out how it works. Access Widget is built of 2 different applications that work together to make websites accessible and compliant. The first is our AI-powered process, which handles the more complex and vast majority of WCAG requirements. These include optimizations for screen readers and keyboard navigation for blind users and those with mobility disabilities. To make these adjustments, the AI scans and analyzes the website using a contextual understanding process. It learns the purpose and function of every element before fixing it. Pop-ups, drop-downs, forms, validations, menus, links, and buttons are all included. Then, it applies different behaviors and ARIA attributes according to functionality and states of elements. Access Widget also utilizes computer vision and OCR image recognition technologies to provide accurate alternative text descriptions to images. The second part of our solution is the Accessibility Widget, which enables users with disabilities to adjust the user interface and website design for their specific browsing session, fitting their individual accessibility needs. Let's take a look. The Accessibility Widget mostly covers visual-related WCAG requirements and completes the AI engine. These requirements include adjustments for readable fonts, sizing, spacing, color contrasts, cursors, and emphases. Users have the choice between accessibility profiles, standalone adjustments, or both. The profiles at the top bundle together common accessibility combinations that address a specific disability. The user simply chooses the profile that's right for them. So, for example, a user with epilepsy that wishes to browse a website safely without the risk of seizures can choose the seizure-safe profile. Immediately, all colors are dulled and flashing or blinking elements are paused. Users with low vision, for example, can enable the vision-impaired profile. This visually enlarges all website components significantly, while making the colors more contrasted and saturated. Further accessibility adjustments can be made by choosing the individual options from the interface, either with the accessibility profiles or without. After the initial installation, which takes less than 2 minutes, the Accessibility Widget immediately appears and the AI engine begins to remediate accessibility barriers on the website. This process takes up to 48 hours, and when ready, an accessibility statement will be sent to the relevant email and uploaded within the interface. The statement confirms the accessibility work that has been made to a website and explains how it achieves compliance. The best part of our AI is that it rescans and reanalyzes a website every 24 hours to remediate new images, elements, pages, or other updated content. Access Widget comes with built-in support for 16 different languages, so all users, wherever they are, can enjoy a website. That's it. I hope you enjoyed our demo. We invite you to visit our website to learn more, start a 7-day free trial, or reach out via the live chat if you have any questions.
Perfect. And I've included a link there, so you'll be able to download it and put it on your website instantly. So it'll be there for you. Okay, next. Okay. Now moving on to visual impairments. So some of these solutions will cross over, including the Accessibility Widget as it has kind of a wide-ranging helpfulness to different disabilities. So, but we'll go on to this. It's for visual impairments. So some of the barriers that someone may find at a museum may find that there's no tactile displays or braille. So they may find it inaccessible for blind users or low vision guests. Poor lighting or glare, difficult to navigate or view displays. So you may add some lighting and that may help a lot of visitors with disabilities. Also, non-descriptive audio guides. So there may be a lack of descriptive narration in your audio guides or your videos. So just something to consider going forward. So next, we'll go into the solutions. Okay. This is some technology that people with visual disabilities may have. These are some of the solutions that they may bring into your space. You may want to have them in your space if you know you have a large demographic of people with visual disabilities. They use screen readers, which again works with your website. Isn't super important that your website works with these screen readers. Magnifiers, braille displays, text speech. They also use drag and speak recognition, which enables individuals with accessibility issues who find typing difficult or painful or painful and work virtually hands-free. So those are just some of the solutions some people have with visual disabilities. Next. Okay. I included this slide because I know every phone, including Apple and Android, have accessibility features that we can tap into. It's under settings, under accessibility. It's great to play around with it in case you have someone come into your space you can't communicate with. This turns on a little toggle switch on your phone, where you can then um, have things read to you, shown to you with words. It's just makes your phone a little more accessible for those coming in that need that a little added accessibility. So it's good to play around with your phone. Every Apple and Android phone has that. Okay, next. Perfect. Now, most people don't think of tactile displays as something tech related. I think it does because tech is constantly evolving, and just because we may not have have it in our spaces doesn't mean we can't try to put them there. Tactile displays are great for people with visual disabilities. They create inclusive access. They let blind and low vision visitors explore exhibits through touch. Multisensory experiences engage all visitors, including neurodiverse and sighted guests. Hands-on learning. They help children and others connect through physical interaction. They enhance interpretation, translate visual content into tactile form for deeper understanding. They promote a more inclusive museum environment, allowing all visitors to engage with the museum's collections. Now, this is a cute picture. I've taken this from the British Museum. They've created a very large tactile display just to have visitors be able to touch and feel so they can see and have a more immersive interaction. So next. And next, I'll give you some examples of these types of tactile displays, like tactile maps, 3D printed exhibit replicas, raised line drawings, textured surfaces, 3D printed models of original artwork or artifacts. They translate visual information like brushstrokes, details of a sculpture, map layouts in textile form. And because some of these 3D printers are becoming a little more available at lower price points, they may be something you can utilize in your museum space. Great, thanks. Okay. And another tactile display are NFC tags. They're near field communication tags, and they can be programmed to tap for audio guides or navigation. You can program to access captions or sign language videos. They are placed low and linked to maps or elevators, routes within the museum. They can be tapped for reminders, guides, step-by-step help, trigger routines or calming content. I've even seen them programmed to do different scavenger hunts and make a more immersive experience for the little ones. They're easy access. They also can be programmed to have easy access to large text, read aloud, or video information. And also accessible tours can be given through these tags, and they create inclusive info at exhibits or entry points. And they also can be programmed to have emergency help to tap to exit directions or alert staff. Okay, next. And these are just some companies. It's a reference slide that goes over some 3D printing companies in Ontario, some in Canada, tactile map and display providers. This will be available to you a little later, so don't be frantic trying to write any of these down. It's just there for you for future reference. Next. Great. Multilingual tools. Now, language inclusion is a key to accessibility. You may have visitors coming in that are international students, tourists, multilingual communities. The Google website translator plugin gets put on your website and the back end of your website, and then a little menu is placed in the right-hand corner of your web page, and it gives you a pull-down menu of a list of over 100 languages that you can change your web that then changes your website to reflect that particular language. So a French-speaking visitor taps a flag icon, which is the language icon, and sees the exhibit description in their preferred language. So it'll help those visitors coming into your museum space that may not speak English, but really want to enjoy your exhibits or your online collections. Another example of having multilingual tools are American Sign Language video content, sign language videos embedded into exhibit pages, help deaf visitors experience the content in a native language, so sign language, and audio guides in multiple languages are always a good tool, either creating YouTube videos that have a French speaker or captions at the bottom or a sign language interpreter, always great ideas. Visitors can choose the language of their audio tour, breaking language barriers and encouraging deeper engagement. Now, we don't normally think of our aging demographic as someone with a disability, but not all disabilities are a disability there, but it's very important when thinking of accessibility in your museum space. As consumers, users, and citizens, we are all either limited or enabled by design each day of our lives. Whether you are responsible for creating design or not, we are all impacted by how design does or does not respond to what we want and need. That's why it's important to collaboratively consider design age ideas that can help shape a positive future for ourselves and for our society. That's through Design Age Institute, which is a great resource if you're looking into these sort of solutions for our aging population and our visitors coming in. And it's a great resource. Next. And some of the solutions for our aging demographic could be indoor navigation for visually or mobility impaired individuals, such as smartphone-based wayfinding using Bluetooth beacons. A feature of this is a voice or vibration prompts for independent navigation. Examples of these could be through Blind Square, Wayfinder, or NaviLens. Also, another idea for a solution or assistive tech is digital memory books and storytelling booths. This could capture personal stories from older adults relating to exhibits. You could either create a video of them saying or their story about the exhibits. It's the tech is for through tablets with voice to text AI, email, print options, those sort of things. So we want to build intergenerational connections, and it preserves oral history as well. And lastly, virtual museum experiences from home. So for seniors or for those in long-term care homes, a live stream tour of 360-degree virtual walkthroughs, or you're walking through your museum or just a room in itself. Some of these platforms could be through the Matterport, like I mentioned before, or YouTube Live. Next. And here is our apps tech page. Now, here's a breakdown of some of the key apps that we're featuring here. I would strongly suggest you check some of them out, like Larzillo, which is provides guided tours with audio descriptions, sign language descriptions of exhibits, wheelchair accessible routes and mapping, or NaviLens, which is a digital signage system that helps people with visual disabilities move independently and access information. Or Bloomberg Connects is a free app providing access to expert curated content and guides to over 450 museums, galleries, and cultural spaces. And Area, which it provides an on-demand remote visual interpretation for blind and low vision community. Now, I'd strongly suggest you look at these apps in a way that seeing if they connect to the accessibility tool and tech that those with disabilities bring in. Some of them may be good for your space, some of them may not. I would strongly suggest you check some of them out, research them, and see if they work for your space. Next. And at Canis Museum Consulting, my company, we've developed an NFC tag accessible system that combines some of the things we've discussed. Tappable NFC tags at exhibits, custom web pages with accessibility features such as Accessibility and the Google Translate integration. It includes an accessible audit of the website, your website, multilingual audio and video support, tactile for visual impairment, training for staff. I include courses so that you can do this on an ongoing basis without me. You can do it as fast or slow as you'd like. It's really up to you. It also can include optional accessible website build with online collections as well. And these tags I have programmed to also include donation tags, ticketing, and revenue features. And at the bottom is a link to that Accessibility plugin in case you're interested. So next. Now here I'm showing you a pictorial display of how the system works. You tap accessibility tags at each exhibit to personalize your experience. So you find the circular tag, you can kind of make it into something fun at your museum, find the tags, tap the back of your smartphone to the circular tag, which makes your phone, make sure your phone's on your home screen. So I'll just have to say that. Tap the notification that pops up on your home screen, your finger, the exhibit pops up on your screen through a web browser. You can choose the accessibility icon that you see there, the blue man, which brings up features for a clearer, accessible experience, including language. And you get to enjoy the exhibits however you like, independently, one by one, here or there. It makes a very individualized experience for your visitors. Next. And here's a pictorial display of what I put together at the Strait Area Museum in Port Hawkesbury, Nova Scotia. We place the tags on the wall next to some of the storyboards and some of the actual artifacts at their displays. And we also did a land acknowledgement tag as well. And if you go to the next slide, it will show you some of the benefits of this system that I've created. Independent exploration for visitors, multilingual access for non-English speaking visitors, accessibility audit of websites so the accessibility tech can work with your website, text-to-speech and audio guides for visually impaired users, video content with captions such as ASL for deaf and hard of hearing visitors, adjustable fonts and high contrast modes for low vision and neurodivergent visitors, content filters for trauma sensitive or emotionally intense material, mobile friendly design for seamless access via personal devices, increased engagement and longer visits, a donation feature, courses to teach volunteers and staff how to implement systems on an ongoing basis, and a customized approach to accessibility. So I'll give you a little more customized approach to give you some ideas that you may not have thought of regarding accessibility in your space. Next. And this is just a bit of going over our case study at the Straight Area Museum. We implemented NSE-enabled exhibits with tapped access web content. Visitors choose their preferred formats, such as video with ASL audio guides, multilingual text, trauma-sensitive content filters. There's no app required, fully mobile friendly, works with existing signage and infrastructure, integrates with websites or functions standalone, and creates inclusive features for dyslexia fonts, high contrast screen readers capabilities. I taught the staff how to implement these through courses and a manual, uh, language interpretation, integration, accessible for a lot more visitors, real visitor feedback and impact, and donation option. So they really liked it at the museum there, and it really worked out and very easy to implement and teach the staff there. Next. And just in closing, accessibility technology designing for everybody. Integrating accessibility into your museum's digital strategy ensures inclusivity and enriches the experience for all visitors. Understanding how individuals with disabilities interact with your museum by learning about the technologies they use and seeking their input can guide meaningful improvements. Key takeaways are inclusive design benefits everyone, not just for those with disabilities. A thoughtful integration of assistive technologies can transform the museum experience, making it more engaging and accessible. Continuous feedback and adaptation are essential to meet evolving accessibility standards. So gather feedback as much as possible from anybody that comes into your museum that may have a disability, seek guidance from them, just have a chat with them and see if there's anything you can do to make it a more meaningful experience for them. It also key takeaways are how you interact and add alt text and descriptions to your pictures in your background of your website are very important in helping assistive tech work in your museum space. And accessible features to your background is key in intersecting and interacting with accessibility tech. So my final thoughts on this are by prioritizing accessibility and embracing innovative technologies, museums can create enriching experiences that resonate with every visitor. This webinar emphasizes the significance of aligning accessibility initiatives with your museum's digital strategy and the value of empathetic engagement with diverse audiences. And next is my contact details in case you wanted to get in touch with me.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. That was fascinating. I love how many links there were, right? And the resources share. I feel like there's a lot of like, I'm gonna have to go back through stuff and read and yeah, explore.
For sure.
So we're going to shift to some Q&A time now, everybody. Just scrolling through questions here. Orly, will we receive a copy of the slides? Absolutely. We have the slides as PDF, and also this session was recorded. So as with other track sessions, what we'll do is we'll process that recording, and then once it's ready, everybody that's with us today is going to get the link to that recording, so you can go back through this again and again and again. And it will be available by request on our website as well. Next question. Could you expand on how alt text works?
Definitely. Alt text is, so when we create web pages, for our website. We put pictures up, we put text up, and sometimes we forget that sometimes pictures need descriptions in the background in order for the assistive tech to know what is actually showing. So someone who's blind cannot see that picture, so they need a full immersive experience or a description of that particular picture. So in the background, when we do put pictures up on our website, there's a section. When you add the picture, it'll say alt text, and we sometimes just leave that all blank. But it's good to put it in there saying, say, if there's a woman with a cat sitting in a chair, you could say there's a brown-haired woman sitting on a chair with an orange cat, with a window behind her. And then they get the full idea of what that picture is. So those sort of descriptions then get read out on these assistive devices, so they know what is showing.
Thanks. Next question. Are there any grants to help us implement some of these adaptations? There are grants available for sure. Thinking of provincial government grants, maybe Alyssa, could you find that grant finder link and pop it in the chat? There's a fairly new tool. It's only about a year old now, and it's still listed as a beta thing on the website. But the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage has a grant finder tool. So what it is you actually start to enter information about who you are, and it helps you make the decision of like which department, which grant you should apply for your project, for your idea. So with these kinds of initiatives making things more accessible, there could be something that would fall within like the communities portfolio that would be applicable. Thinking of museum interpretation, the strategic development initiative is sort of our go-to historically for interpretation upgrades. So that would absolutely be applicable. But if you follow that link that Alyssa just put in the chat and go through the process of like, here's who we are, here's what we want to do, it will guide you to some different options. Yeah. And you can also roll things like this into like grant applications if you apply for federal funding through MAP. There would be a collections management stream that would be applicable through that. Usually you can.
Our company also helps a little with those grant processes. If you know the grant, I can help assist you applying for those as well.
There you go. You just answered the next question, Vanessa. Do you help guide grant applications?
Yes,
there you go.
I do. I do. Definitely. I can definitely help you out with that.
Any other questions or comments, or as we like to say at Ansem, cake recipes that people would like to share? Okay, we have a thank you. All right, with a question. Thank you, Vanessa, for the very interesting presentation. Oh, it just jumped on me. How would you suggest museums with very small budgets approach prioritizing their accessibility initiatives? I would love to make our museum more accessible, but I don't know where to start.
Great. Good way to start is to start with your website or your online collections. So start small. Like I said, with the Accessibility plugin, that's always a great way to add to that. The Google Translate plugin is another great option. I think that one's free, and you can add it to your website. Yeah, so there's that. And my option is it's a little expensive, but not really. I try to have a full immersive sort of system, and we're always willing to work with museums and their budgets for that sort of thing. But and another way, just to talk and to learn more about tech accessibility and the technology that people are using coming into your spaces. And again, using your accessibility in your phones can help you communicate with those coming in as well.
I remember talking to a museum once, and they were saying that there was someone in their community who was blind. And so they invited them into the museum and just said, "Hey, can we like walk around with you and just talk about your
Yeah,
experience?" Like it was a very simple, free thing that they could do, but they gained really valuable information by just inviting that person into the space and having some conversations. So it could be,
definitely.
something as simple as that as well.
Perfect.
Um, we have a question for Angie, who I see is in the room. Angie, did you guys get a grant for this work that you did at Straight Area?
We didn't get a grant for this, but I think we just made a start of it, right, Vanessa? Like
Yeah,
I think that's our
we're,
next step. We would like
yeah,
the whole museum to be covered. The benefits that we saw of, the consult with Vanessa and, the tap with the phones, people are blown away. We've only had, 2 dozen people probably in so far this season, but it someone my age, it blows your mind that you can tap on your phone and do all this quickly. We did bring in some old phones that can be used just on Wi-Fi to do the tap. So if someone comes in with
yeah.
an outdated phone that they can't, we do have that floating around the back counter that you can. I think our next step is to go big, some kind of grant to make the whole museum happen. It's because I'm seeing the
Yeah,
benefits right off the bat
yeah.
of it.
And you can implement it as you go. They kind of taken it on and added I've taught their staff how to do it. New staff come in, they'll be able to do it as well. And yeah, it's a great space. It was a great experience for sure.
It was fun. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so impressed. So if anyone has questions, reach out to me. I don't mind walking you through on a Zoom or on a Facebook call because it's worth the call out to
Great.
Vanessa to
Cool.
do this.
Nadine is sharing that they've had good success with the provincial accessibility grants. That is a very good program, and that is one that is part of that grant finder tool. So should show up pretty easily for that. Susan is wondering what operating system is needed to support TAP.
Just your internet. It attaches itself to your website or your online collection, and it just needs internet. That's it. No app, no nothing, just an instant tap. And it's not like the QR codes where you have to kind of put it on the screen and tap. It's just instantly tap, notification comes up, and then it shows your exhibit. However you'd like it to be as well. You could put whatever you want, and you can update it instantly because it's on your website. So it'll be instantaneous update for it. And you don't need to reprogram them. Or you can reprogram them for another exhibit. So you can use that tag and bring it to another sort of exhibit. So
Cool. Deborah, I see that your hand is up.
Thank you. My question has to do with multilingual information and tools. As we all know, regular conversational language, informational or educational language, and marketing language are all really quite different when we're talking about multi-languages. We also, if you've had any fun with Google Translate, have put in a sentence that's come back garbled as something really, really amusing, particularly if you've had a few beverages. Having said that, what would your recommendations be about mitigating some of the translation challenges that we have with some of the software that may not actually be able to look at it from a historic or a heritage point of view, language-wise or vocabulary-wise?
right. Well, it's super important to have the if you're doing the language icon for your website, making sure your website has the alt text in it, because otherwise it's not going to read the pictures. And to make sure everything's kind of streamlined down, you can check and test these things ahead of time, and then you can go and change if you see something that isn't really working with that particular plugin. Now with Google Translate, I know it's kind of hard. You can go on your phone and you can kind of, say it and then it comes out, signed the wrong way. There are other apps out there, I believe, for translation. I'm not quite sure of them right at the moment, but there are other language apps other than the Google Translate. Just try to work with this person in front of you. They kind of know that there might be a little offness in the translation, but to keep trying with that person, and it'll come through. But with the plugin, just try to get your website sort of how it would read out to you. So you have it read out to you, and then you can see that, oh, maybe I didn't describe this, or I didn't put this in the right spot, and you can kind of make it a little more accessible for yourself, and you can kind of do that on an ongoing basis. So it may help.
So I'd like to add to that because of my international language travel or language teaching experience, and the fact that my partner is a professional in international language. One of the things I would suggest also too, just to throw out for conversation, is the Nova Scotia Language Teachers Association. There are a number of people, and chances are someone in your community or nearby that would be associated who may have an alternate language. The other thing I would recommend too is to work with a native speaker of the language you're translating into. Great way to make partnerships in your community. Maybe get involved with a local organization for, we have so many newcomers in our province that working with the local community group, or even the ISANS, the International Association in Halifax there, could even put you on to someone. Very often speaking with a native speaker is also a very good choice in terms of making sure you're getting it right. So, the difference between Jalassi with no P and Jalassi with a P, big difference, right?
Yeah. And another
Thanks to
thing
both.
that Angie McIsaac also added to her one of the pages for one of these tags is a link to the Mi'kmaq language translator. It was like an app or something. I'm not sure exactly what it was called. Angie might be able to tell me. Yeah,
We
we
use
placed it on there. So yeah.
we use deepl.com a lot at ANSOM. That's the federal government actually put us onto it when we were doing a lot of French translation work. And I mean, we speak French, but boy, French grammar is very different from English grammar. So it's nice, and it also makes it a lot faster. So there are definitely a lot of tools that are out there that are free, that have APIs that you can, that's how we translated Novamuse. So yeah, the cheats are
Definitely.
good. Deepl.com. I'll pop that
Yeah.
into the chat, is what that one is. And some of you may see that in your track reports this year, because I did see translation come up a fair bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Orly says Small Journey is a company that she's worked with for QR codes and tap. Jost House has a tablet to do subtitles on virtual tours. That's awesome. French version coming. Cool. That's
We
great.
also offer free accessibility audits for websites, if anybody's interested.
Awesome. Well, folks, we are at our hour mark. So are there any final questions or thoughts to share? I want to say thank you, Vanessa, like so much. This was like head expanding, kind of so much information, right? But love that we have this.
No more,
We'll,
and
yeah,
you can make changes that make all the difference.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I see the thank yous rolling in from our
Thank you.
attendees as well. Awesome. All right, everyone. I'll let you know when the recording is ready. We'll get that out as soon as possible. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to sign up for next month's Tuesday on Track, when we're going to be talking about interactive exhibits with Adam Fine from Fathom. Very exciting stuff. We've got a great lineup this year. All right, everyone, go enjoy the sunshine. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you again to Vanessa. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.